Hi, Daddy. What you doing?
You doing the regatta shuffle right now? Oh, a little scullin' and scoopin'. Some conk style of thing. Well, let's go. Scull with your left foot.
Yo! Welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of the Sup'm Show. Today's discussion, as I worded on Instagram, shouldn't Donald Trump favor white people? I mean, shouldn't he? And this, I got that off of Dee's comments from last week saying that Donald Trump is a racist. But before we get into anything, we do have to allow the opportunity for those of you that are frequent viewers of the Sup'm Show to bask in the glory of
Let's go. like you need any fuel, bro. Dude, don't you know that song? It only takes a spark.
It's season 2 and still ain't nothing changed. Okay, I've changed a little bit. I must say a little bit.
Did you hear the crickets?
Yeah, that was a nice effect. How'd you do that? I love that.
Yeah. Hey, Dyson.
Hey,
listen,
Marguerite.
to
What's
love
up,
me,
Marguerite?
to love me is to hate me, and to hate me is to what? Love me.
To love
Let's
you.
go, y'all.
All right.
I
So
love
yeah.
you. I love you guys.
So I mean, we have hoping that this discussion turns into a much larger conversation than just Donald Trump.
Correct.
Because I found a statement. The statement. Thanks for joining the show. I found a statement that he's a racist. Just that's like when you in an argument with Bahamians, and they tell you to carry your sissy,
True.
right? And it's it's like, okay, what merit? What gives you the confidence to say that about the 45th and 47th president of the United States of America? What exactly is racist about Donald Trump that isn't racist about, I would go on the ledge and say, all of us, which is favoritism to our own kind, or just acknowledging that you are a part of I wouldn't say a group, but a body that kind of should look out for itself, for its existence, for its success. So I find, I mean, we've spoken about it on other shows about racism in the past. And it's something that I saw Barack Obama stated in an Instagram reel when he was saying, you can't allow people to think that you believe you don't belong. Because the minute they think you don't belong, you automatically, you're lesser than. Like, you look at yourself as being lesser than. Like, to even acknowledge racism in 2025, regardless of the fact whether it's true or not, we live in a time now where it doesn't have to be accepted. You can always, like, you don't have to just go around pointing, oh, he's a racist, or he's a this, or he's that, or she's a this, or she's a that. You could literally do what I am so excited to see Canadians do all the time. Canadians have this boycott culture where if things ain't knocking the way they feel it's supposed to be knocking, they out. I just saw a post from a lady going to Costco in Canada now that the tariffs have been put in place. She stated that she just went to Costco and she didn't buy one American product. Not one. So for me, you could be all the racist you want. I know if I feel uncomfortable in a given space, then I just won't rock in that space. To me, that's easy. But let me get into it. Have you any of you heard or read anything that kind of points to Donald Trump being racist? Have you read anything or?
As of what you mean? As of lately, or just overall?
Overall.
There's a few things out there, but I mean, like I think I said before on this show, everybody possesses some level of racism. I don't care who you are.
Agreed.
You're racist to something.
Agreed.
Everyone. Okay. And for every account I think I've ever heard about from a child, me being a child to now, about Donald Trump specifically, for everything I've heard about him on the racist side of things, I've also heard things about him on the helping people of color side of things. So I really can't call it, bro. And normally, I call it like this, but on this one, I really can't. And personally, now, I will say this: there are many people out here in the world today that won't agree with certain things he does, certain things he most definitely says, may come off as insensitive, may come off as aggressive, But that's just the way it is, man. I mean, everybody is not like everybody, and everybody won't receive the same information the same way. Even if you have someone that's totally opposite of what everybody may like, somebody somewhere is going to have something to say about them. No matter what. You know what I mean? You could do the best thing in the world, and people still want to scream, crucify, crucify, crucify. So I don't know. I'm probably not the best one to answer that.
Hey, go ahead, Doc.
I was going to say, I always got to take the scientific approach, and I mentioned this on the show before. The first thing we do when we're discussing a topic is we define it.
Mm-hmm.
So what is racism? When we say racism, what are we talking about here? Let's be very clear what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because unless you're clear, then you have nothing to relate against. Everybody could be talking about something different. So let's all be talking about the same thing when we say racism.
You want to read you want me to read the dictionary definition?
Let's do that.
Yeah, sure.
And let's see if you accept that. And if you accept that, then let's go from there.
Okay. Adjective: characterized by or showing prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. Noun: a person who is prejudiced against or antagonistic towards people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. So do we accept that that's what we're talking about here?
So again,
Hans.
I really was gonna duck y'all this week. I was gonna duck y'all this week.
You that right over there.
I was gonna duck y'all this week.
But now it becomes more of a general conversation, which I prefer.
I don't know this.
But here's what I believe.
Sorry,
I do believe that he believes that he is doing what is right.
Mm-hmm.
But what the thing is, what he's doing is causing people to feel some type of way, right? Mm-hmm. And no matter his intention, he cannot control how he makes people feel.
How do you feel about feelings there, Juan?
Come on now, you already know. You already know me and feelings. You're asking the wrong person. I don't deal in feelings, my brother. I deal in logic and logic only. I don't deal in feelings.
I feel like if he did the things he did, make the decisions he made without saying a word, it would go way different.
And I mean, I back to my statement about what I just heard Obama said. which is don't allow anyone to make you feel as though you don't belong, or don't allow people to even think that you think you don't belong. So when you start having feelings about what someone says or what someone does, that kind of like that's kind of like you accepting that there is a place for that. Like there's a place for you to exist in that. And I think we just beyond that right now. And the only way we're going to make a difference in that is to remove ourselves from the acceptance of it, or even the acknowledgement of it, to the degree that we don't support things that make us feel that way. You see what I'm saying?
Morgan Freeman said it the best.
What do you say?
He said, stop talking about it. But that's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. He said, he said, stop addressing me as a black man or an African American. Just call me man. And I'm going to stop calling you a white man. I'm just going to call you man. And even if you want to throw all the other genders in there, let's be talking about racism, right? So let's just totally eliminate that. I'm just going to call you man or woman or whatever you want to be called. Forget the whole black, white, orange, and green part.
And here's when we talk about Donald Trump, 45th and 47th president of the United States. This man was born in 1946 in America, right? Where in the 40s and in the 50s, we all know, I mean, who doesn't know what was going, if you didn't know what was going on in the 40s and 50s, the United States was very segregated, very racist.
Divided.
Very extremely divided, but not divided, whereas it was like this team of people who just was pointing at blacks or colored people and saying, we could jam them. We're gonna do things to mess them up. It wasn't like that, you know. It was more in the sense like this. No, this was their culture.
It wasn't?
This was embedded in their belief. They used to go to church, and the pastors used to preach this. They used to pull lines
Scripture
from the Bible that said that, scripture, and that really and preach this sermon that whites are supposed to be dominant and blacks are supposed to be slaves. They used to preach this. This was in. So if you was going to church where Bible study and your lessons, where a lot of young people's education began, you were being taught that this is just the natural order.
But Dyson, what you just described is systemic racism. Are you saying we don't have that? Are you saying we don't have that now? That's what you say?
No. We very much have it, but we are no longer in the position where we have to accept it. Back then, we didn't have a choice. It was the law. Back then, it was the law. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, which is why I can't pin it on any one president. To this day, there are still some Jim Crow laws that need to be rewritten or abolished or taken out of the books altogether. I just read about this one in the insular cases that block the constitutional rights of Black, Indigenous people of color. Right, that's when like places like Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, when the U.S. started to branch out and claim these other areas, but they weren't predominantly white, right? In terms of their population. So they have some laws or legal standings that say if you are from one of these islands or extensions of America, you still don't have the same rights or privileges afforded to Americans in the Constitution. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. I feel funny about that because you're talking about borders, and this is why. And again, I'm not saying where these races are not, because I don't know. I really, in the core of it, I don't know. But this is why he comes off as so racist, not only because of the dumb things he says, but because of his immigration policies. So his policy is about the border. And a law
Yeah.
like that, what you're talking about, it's about borders. Because even though they're not sovereign nations per se, they're still nations. They're still recognized as nations, right? So talking about Puerto Rico, USVI, and stuff like that. So even though there's some gray area there about, and the same thing with Turks and Caicos. Like with Turks and Caicos, you're not considered British just because you were born in Turks and Caicos. You know what I mean? Is that's a little different. If
But the thing
if
about it
that law
is,
applied, if that law applied to somebody born in Florida, then I would say okay. You know what I mean?
that's exactly the point, though. They do pull from this same legal standing in cases in the U.S., in the actual U.S.
Mhm.
They pull from
Okay.
those cases because the law is absolute. The rulings in court is absolute until it's overturned. So if
But
something
which one of
if
those laws
something
prevent us from black people is doing anything?
Oh, hey!
there's
Don't take away my talking point, bro. That was next up, please.
That's what I
and
want. I don't know. I don't live there. You guys tell me. Which one of the
Listen,
laws
may I?
prevent
May
JP
I?
Noah from doing what he's going to do?
May I? Okay.
go ahead.
What?
Here's
No,
go
there's a
ahead.
few.
Go ahead.
There's a few things. I like to just say and then address. Right. What is it about that word that triggers people of color so much?
Racism, racist.
Racism. Yeah. What is it about that word? Because
500 years
for
of slavery.
hold on,
History.
hold on. I understand that. I
Yeah,
understand that.
okay, go for it.
But at what point do you personally move past that? At what point do you personally move past that? Because there's been examples over and over and over that show that people of color can most certainly make it in a lot of different areas where they never thought they could. But then for
Mhm.
everyone, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 of them that make it, you seem to have like 10,000 more screaming, it's the white man's fault that I can't make it. You know what I'm saying? Like at what point do we acknowledge that, okay, we went through this, it's terrible, I get it. All right.
Mhm.
Do you expect for anyone to just constantly keep hearing about the same thing over and over and over? And every single time you attempt to do something and you fail, whether it might be the white man's fault, or it might just be your fault, or it might just be the fact that you ain't tried hard enough, or it might just be the fact that it ain't for you at that time.
Mhm.
Somehow, some way, the majority of people of color always go back to, well, it's the white man
Mhm.
blocking that.
Mhm.
Why? Like I said before,
It's easy.
right? Hold on, bro. Like I said before, right? And I think we discussed this in private, us four right here, right? We didn't have a show about this. It's all about your way of thinking. I don't care what anybody says. Is there things in place that gonna make it difficult? Yes, I agree, 100%. Is it up to the individual to overcome those hurdles? Absolutely, yes. You know what I'm saying? But you cannot go through life in every facet of life just constantly, throwing the blame on X, Y, and Z. And here's another thing. 8 times out of 10, it don't have nothing to do with the white man or racism. You just a lazy bum. Straight up. And you don't put in the work that you should put in to achieve what you see the next man achieve. And mix them with a little jealousy and they this. Stop watching, stop liking man. Stop
Yeah.
liking man and do what you gotta do.
Doc, you had something to say?
Simple.
And I was going to say I've given up on, I guess, to some degree, Martin Luther King's famous words that he has a dream that one day we would all
One day.
pretty much we'll all be as one. I've kind of given up on that, and here's why. Because if we can get to a
But
point
do you know
where
he also
Hold on, let finish it. He also
please
what?
hold on,
I got you on.
I want to hear what you're going to say. Please hold on. But
Okay.
The reason why I let go of it, the reason why I give up on it to some degree,
There was
right?
something he said after that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is that we had a when Barack Obama was elected, I as a black man was elated. I was very proud. I was very happy. And I was like, wow, the world is gonna change. People are gonna change. Wasn't that his thing of change? Wasn't that his
Yeah.
first thing? Change, right?
Yeah.
I think it was
Hope.
change.
Yes, we can, or something like
Hope.
that.
I think
It
it
was
was
change and hope,
change
or
or
hope and then
hope,
change.
something.
Man, I had okay, I had
Yeah.
hope. I had hope. I was like, bro, this dude is intelligent. This dude, he got swagger. He could dress. He could talk. He's smart. He knows how to deal with people. He went to the Middle East, and the Middle East was like, all right, whatever you say, Barack, we're gonna chill out for a little while. Like I was like, bro, this is the guy here. This is the guy who's gonna fix everything. And people are gonna come together, and everybody was just gonna be kumbaya, not kumbaya, but I mean everything was gonna be better with people in general.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Not at all.
We live in a world where people could make millions of dollars selling a subscription for you to look at their toes, and people still not happy with the opportunities they have.
Mm-hmm.
So I give up. I give up. I'm done. I mean, this is a couple of years ago. I was done a while ago. But since then, we've had a black-ish female vice president. Became
We've
this
had
close.
we've had Black Lives Matter too. Let's not forget that.
We've we've had. I got a story about that. A new story about that. But we became very close to having a black female or black or dark skinned female president. Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is leaps and bounds from 1950s. He was talking about, bro.
Yeah.
This is leaps and bounds from that. So
This is true.
when people say, "I don't live in America," now I wasn't born there. I only spent a couple of years there. But when I hear Americans say, "When was America great?" and it's like, bro, right now, bro, like now you could go sell, you could sell your cut toenails, and people will buy it. Dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You can make millions of dollars without graduating high school and without leaving your house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What more do you want? What are you complaining about? What do you want? Do you know the rest of the world lives?
They want payback. They want payback.
Everybody in the world,
stuck in payback and revenge mode. No, man.
people are risking getting shot to death to come to your country. Shot to death, drowned, shot to death, lost at sea, all type of stuff to get to your country to this day.
Yeah.
So for you to mouth those words, I don't care who's president. For you to mouth those words is blasphemy, bro.
Yeah.
Blasphemy.
Let's look at this statement from Marguerite.
Answer the point though, bro.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry about that.
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King also said, other than I had a dream that one day.
Yeah, that he feared that trying to end segregation and bring people together, he was I don't know the correct quote, but it was like he was marching his people into, oh gosh, I can't remember, but it's almost like regret. He doesn't know if this was a good idea to want, segregation to end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys ever seen that, but I saw that.
Let me see. I'll pull it up later in the show.
That's deep.
To see if we could get the line that you're talking about. Until then, I wanted to touch on what Marguerite said, and when we were discussing, what has Trump done that can be kind of seen as being racist.
By the way, that's my sister, y'all. Y'all see the forehead?
Yep, I know. I know. I know. I know.
But it's pretty good. This pretty woman in your sister. Get from Ronnie. Yeah, but the diversity, what was it? Equity and inclusion, and blaming the plane crash on it.
That's not exactly what he said. That's not exactly what he said.
Yeah, it's not exactly.
I don't even know if he said. I didn't hear it, so I can't.
That's what people took from what he said. He said we need to hire the best people.
Yeah,
he said we should have the best people and we should hire the best people, and I agree with that.
Yeah, and I also agree with that. What he's saying,
I don't care if they purple. And I don't care if they identify as a monkey. If they're the best person for the job, let them do the job.
Go. Yeah.
And I not to say that I agree with his statement, but what I gathered from it was that it's a very
Dyson. Pause you on for a second.
Go ahead.
Okay. Can everybody agree on panel right now, right? That the shirt that Dyson Knight is wearing right now look like on some Zorro shit.
Zorro?
The edges of the sleeve. I know it's the chair. It's the chair design in the back, making you look like you got pointy shoulders right now. Sit back. Zorro ass nigga. Look at that.
Oh.
It's a puffy shirt. It looks like a puffy shirt. All right, yes, focus.
Hey,
what are you looking at?
You got to disrupt it, man. Let's go.
You're saying there's a lot riding on that job. It's a lot riding. Yeah, it's a lot riding on the job of being an air traffic controller. That's what I gathered from what he is saying. And he is the thing about Trump. What we have to never ever forget is that Trump, beyond being a businessman, this boy is an entertainer.
Yeah.
Trump is a very smart salesman.
Mm-hmm. He's a salesman. Okay.
He's a salesman. and he right now he wants to do away with this DEI thing for whatever reason it is, and he will say, do, highlight whatever he can in order to sell what he's trying to do with DEI. And we have to take that into consideration and look at all sides of it. My thing is, don't just look at anything that you don't agree with or you don't like, because you may not even know why you don't like this man. You may not even know why you don't like something. It may just be embedded in you that, you shouldn't be about a certain thing. Like how if some children don't like broccoli, but they never taste it. Because they just learn that, broccoli is
unfortunately yucky. That's how it is all the time in situations. A lot of people don't know nothing but that's 80 because the majority say something.
Hey, but if you don't say that to them, because my son eats broccoli. So if you don't say nothing to them, you just feed them the damn broccoli.
Broccoli, exactly.
They can eat the broccoli.
But there's cartoons and stuff.
Eventually, if they eat enough broccoli, when people tell them, hey, why are you eating broccoli? Broccoli tastes bad. They can be like, no, broccoli don't taste bad. I eat broccoli. It don't taste bad.
and here's my point. Here's my point with Trump and the DEI thing, with the DEI hire. There are Black people that don't like the fact that people may say or can say, here we talk about feelings now, can say that the only reason they have a job or a position is because of DEI. Is because that company is forced to hire a certain number of Black people, or forced to hire a certain number of Hispanic people, or forced to hire a certain section of people, not that you qualify.
I would disagree.
You disagree that there are Black people that think that? Ann still up?
Yes.
Would you would disagree that Black people think that way or feel that way?
Yes, I disagree, because even when DEI was there, right? There have always been Black and brown people who were turned down for somebody else. So that's why we've always had to have a bigger degree or so on and so forth. I've been in positions where I've had 2 degrees higher than my boss, just to have the position. But I feel like DEI helped maybe other groups. I don't think it directly helped Black people.
Can I ask you something, man?
I know of people who have. Sometimes people will even say,
I can't hear that. I can say it
depending on the name. Go ahead, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you want to show Oscar? She ain't got an answer.
No, listen. I don't want to interrupt. But I don't. Come on now. don't get me started. I wanted to finish a point before I ask the question, so she get it all out. Because you wasn't hired, what was the reason you feel that you didn't get the position versus the next person, but you had the proper credentials for it? Personally, what do you think it was? I mean, if you don't want to answer, you don't have to.
No. I've gotten the position, seen and
Okay.
known of people who did not.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
And
Okay,
why
yes.
do you think they didn't get it? Or you freeze.
Okay.
I think what I heard her say was, and she could correct me. I thought I heard her say that she was in positions where she had 2 degrees higher than her boss.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm
Yeah.
referring. That's what I'm referring to. Yeah.
that's a thing, right? But I mean,
Yes.
a lot of times, again, when you think about certain things, it's sometimes just how it ends up, right? It's not necessarily because y'all are both higher at the same time, and they said, okay, this person has 2 degrees higher, but she's black, so you can put her below. And then this other person, they're white, they only have 1 degree, but we can put them above.
That's what I
Like
was trying to get at right there.
it
That's
don't
exactly what I was trying
happen.
to get at.
Yeah, if it happens like that, that's absolutely wrong. And there's laws in place. There's laws in place to take action if that happens,
Yes.
right? But that should not
Yes.
happen. A lot of time it's because, again, we live in an age where younger people can get education much easier. You can sit home and get your doctorate degree now, whereas you have people who've been on the job for 30 years, they've only went so far, and they pretty much stopped there. So they got to their position based on, a lot of times, time and hard work. A lot of times, sometimes not even competency. Sometimes just being there long and
Mhm.
hard work. Right. So, well, good enough work, I guess, whatever. But because someone below them has now elevated themselves degree wise above them, there's always like, okay, I should be paid more than this person who's above me. But then there's other factors there. You can't just toss money at you because you got a degree. It doesn't always work like that. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't always work like that. And especially promotion. Promotion is a whole different story because it depends on the company's policy. On most companies, big companies have a policy on promotion, right? And a lot of it has to do with time or time in a specific position. You know what I mean? And even if they want to promote you, they can't
Mm.
because of the law. So
And that's
it's
what I
not
was trying. That's what I was trying to refer to. Like, there's many
so we jump
factors.
the race. There's
Yeah, that
not
comes into play.
sometimes it's way more than race. It's way more
Yeah.
than that a lot of times. But we don't take the time to really look at it. The first thing we want to do is jump to race and cause a fuss. And you know why we do that? Because it works. When you do that, the company now can say, hey, guess what? I can hire this person or fire this person, or I can promote this person or demote this person because they've made an allegation against us. So now they freed us up. So now we can do whatever.
Mhm.
Because that allegation trumps,
Everything.
sorry to say Trump, but that allegation trumps everything in the law.
Mhm.
That allegation trumps everything in the law. If you say that I'm being racist, or
So
I'm being
here's
sexist,
here's
or I'm
another
being
thing.
whatever,
When a person that is considered a minority is hired, that company gets a tax break for having a
Mm.
minority. So it almost
Ooh.
makes me
And the
wonder
plot
if he
thickens.
wanted to get rid of DEI so that the government is no longer giving tax breaks to people who are hiring people that fall into the criteria um, different per
Right.
se. Um, and I didn't find out about that until now. Granted, I do know every single time you fill out documentations for a company, there are questions that it's a whole separate government site that you have to go to where they want to know if you have any disabilities, because disabilities also get tax breaks. If
Mm.
if you're black, Hispanic, never, I never understood why. Until there was a time I dated this guy and he was a business owner. And he said, this man was also Caucasian. And he said that every time he sees his employee, I think his name was Pedro or something, he said that sometimes I just want to yell out, hey there, my tax break. And so I pressed on and asked questions, and that's when I knew. So at the end of it, I'm like, well, technically, I'm somebody's tax break too, because I would be considered a minority hire.
But
So it makes me
isn't
wonder if
Trump all
that's
about?
why, I don't know, why he wanted to get rid of DEI, because then now the government wouldn't have to pay.
But isn't Trump all about tax breaks for the rich? I thought he was about tax breaks for the rich.
Yeah, that's why I say the plot thickens.
I thought he was
So
all about tax breaks for the rich. So I mean, in that case,
doing away with this,
he should be he should be for DEI.
Yeah,
I thought he was all for tax breaks for the rich guy.
So,
but I had a question.
hey,
I had a question.
Go ahead.
I had a question before I forget, and a follow-up question to that. All right.
I don't know. This is just me trying to process.
No, possible.
What's the question?
So my question, right? My question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does affirmative action still
pretty
exist?
soon groceries here.
You cut off.
You cut off just now.
What'd you say?
Groceries is the last word.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I said pretty soon groceries here are gonna be like shopping home.
Oh boy. I rebuke
expensive.
that. I rebuke that. But go ahead, Doc. You have a question and a follow-up.
You also got about 55% to go. But I was gonna say does affirmative action still exist?
I don't know. Let me ask Google.
Is that still a thing?
What's your point on
it? My point is, how does DEI coexist with affirmative action, if that's the case?
Okay, Google says race-based affirmative action in college admission in the United States was ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court of June 2023. This ruling was made in a case students for fair admissions versus Harvard. So
that's for college.
But like I say, the law is absolute. So if they rule it unconstitutional in one area, it has to be ruled unconstitutional blanket. It has to be a blanket rule.
So that kind of changed
my understanding. My understanding. Yeah.
That changed my question a bit. So help me understand. DEI is a legal. Is that a law? Is that a legal?
Yes.
Or something legal.
First of all, break it down what DEI is for people that may not know.
What is the law? And break this say the whole thing and what is the law?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll look it up too.
It's a policy. Okay, so diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, are organizational frameworks which seek to promote the fair treatment and full participation of all people, particularly groups who have historically been. Okay, we know that.
But that's not a law.
It's a policy, and through the policy, they're able to do what Ans was talking about, which I guess is you get different, I guess, tax breaks or allocations or assistance or what have you, if you have certain people as a part of your workforce.
So organizational, what I'm saying here, it says DEI are organizational frameworks. So it sounds like this occurs at a company level, or corporate levels, or organization levels.
Yeah, corporate in association with the government. Correct.
Right. So it's not really a law per se. It's kind of something that these companies are kind of pressured to do.
Encouraged to do. I won't say pressured. Yeah, encouraged, incentivized
to do.
Mm-hmm.
What do we call that?
Incentivized.
Yeah, what do we call that? When you incentivize a corporation to do something, when the government incentivizes a corporation, what is that?
Welcome back, Ruckus. Maybe Ruckus got the answer. Yeah, inclusive policies are not governed by a single law, but rather a mix of federal laws, executive orders, and courts' decisions. Okay, see?
Right. So there's no single law like how affirmative action is not a law, right?
I guess not.
Okay.
It's not like if you don't hire a certain amount of Black people, we can shut down your business by law. It's not like that. So that's what they say. It's a policy.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So So if the government, let's just say, for example, the government encouraged corporations
Mhm.
to do the opposite of DEI, what would we call it?
To do the opposite of DEI, meaning get rid
Yeah,
of all the,
to,
if you
to
get rid
get
of all
rid
your
to get
black
rid of the
people, we would give
minorities.
you a tax break.
Right.
We would call that, we would be, that would be considered Jim Crow action. And the DEI is supposed to be it's supposed to be anti discrimination, like retraining society to be less um discriminatory.
Once
Segregated.
again, we had a black president. We had a female dark-skinned vice president. We had a female dark-skinned
That's
run for
ruckus.
president. I mean, where exactly
Yeah.
is why is this incentive needed per se? Why is it really necessary?
Okay, here's my thing on the whole. It, back to what I said in the beginning. If Donald Trump is a white man that grew up in a Jim Crow America, he learned a certain thing, and if he exhibits that certain thing that he learned, right, it's just he's not intentionally doing or saying certain things that come across as being racist. This is some frame of understanding about the world that is embedded in him. And I'm sure he does his best to focus on his objectives, which is to make the Trump empire great
Okay.
through making America great, right?
Okay.
And what he sees as being American, you can pick out different parts of this man's career as a businessman and a salesman to show that he was all about making as much money as he possibly can. My thing is, the only way you can make money is if you sell something to me and I buy it. So, blanket, straight across the board, you will only find, I mean, I used to be an extremist with this at a certain degree, where I would only buy from certain merchants
Tyson is
who
trying
I
to distract me now.
trust. Because anyway, let me see if I can block out this thing now.
Okay, there we go. That's a little better.
This ain't distracting.
All I can
All
see
right,
is them damn horns.
but
What
here's
I
my
told
thing.
you, that's what I was seeing. You're laughing off. I was seeing horns. Now you're
But
All right,
seeing
we,
go ahead.
it.
Go ahead.
but
Sorry,
we,
that's a good point, Tyson.
but we know how we as a people go, where certain brands getting all our money with no research into how they handle their business or handle their companies or who they employ or who they discriminate against or whatever the case may be. No research is done into the core values of the brands that we give all our money to. And then we get mad when the people get rich, who rich off of us giving them the money, end up powerful, end up being able to sponsor governments and lobby for certain things to be put in place that benefits them. We making them rich.
Yep.
Listen, we've been making other cultures rich forever. Forever. From the music industry to the clothing industry, whatever industry we've been making. Because guess what? I've been all over the world, traveled, all over the place. And everywhere I go, they always look up to the Black American culture. From music to the way you dress, okay, to the way you speak, to the way how you just have your styling. You know what I'm saying? They always look up to it. But our problem is, like I always said on this show, we
Ooh.
can't stick together past 5 minutes to build anything.
And my boy Kanye West was talking about that with Candace Owens on her
Owens,
podcast.
yeah,
And that hit me like a ton of bricks. Because
we can't. It's like you know. For instance, I'm familiar with the whole hip hop scene, right? Do you know how many hip hop producers are of color? Rappers are of color. But you know what? Instead of banding together and building a great, awesome empire, we rather just beef with each other. That's which is the crab in the barrel mentality, which we ain't never going to get past. Never going to get past.
Ain't no reason why
Because
black people don't
And
own
that's
hip hop.
what's that
No
answer?
reason. Go ahead.
Y-
What'd you say,
yeah,
Ann?
no, I said because that's what sells.
exactly. That's what sells. And it's like we
Back
end
to
up
us.
being the laughing stock of every other culture. The
Back to
laughing
us.
stock. Straight up.
Back to us.
And right back to us. And it's like you come from nothing, and that's how the people see you. Even when these people build something of their lives, right? They still somehow, some way fuck it up. I
Y'all
don't
keep going.
understand that. I don't understand that. You get all the money, all the fame, and you still throw it all away because you just don't know how to act. The same thing with our music, hip hop. Hip hop seems to have an age
Y'all
restriction
make
on it.
Tyson come up each other.
Nice. Country singers. Country singers and rock and roll singers, right? They could tour forever. The Rolling Stones still touring. The Rolling Stones, but still
Yeah.
touring, but
Yep.
these niggas like 120.
Yeah. I didn't get a
Meanwhile,
chance.
hip hop, we have an age restriction on it. I don't understand it.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to fact check this about who the major benefactors of DEI have been. But this is an interesting point to
That's
think
so
about
important
it.
because it is not what people think.
This is very interesting and very telling, and it speaks against the whole notion that Donald Trump is racist. So, again, we got about 15 minutes left before the hour. We'd like to wrap the show up even before we hit the hour mark. That was. Go ahead.
Wait, Dyson.
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided to Google who benefits most from DEI by race.
What Google say?
Guess who it is? Guess.
Well, Ruckus says white people. I mean, white women. Sorry. And he
white
also says it's
women.
the alpha. Yeah, he also said the alphabet mafia, and that that is hilarious to me. I've never heard.
Y'all believe everything what Google say?
Well, it's a good starting point. It's a good place to start on your
Nothing more,
research
nothing
journey.
less.
You look to make sure it's a reputable source and it's not
Yeah.
Wikipedia.
So
Yeah.
definitely
You gotta type
fact
the
check
numbers.
that.
Type the numbers.
I think it's a good time to remind people we do have a disclaimer. So we do encourage you to fact check everything you hear on the Sup'm Show, please. Please
And
fact check it.
I'm not the one that made him put it up just now.
No, and nor did he make me put it up. But I just before we go.
Here's the thing. Sorry, go ahead, Ben. You closing up?
No, we're not closing. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I've been listening all week, and I listen to stuff like this a lot on this topic from black people and from black people we kind of look up to. So here's another one, Denzel Washington, and you know what he said?
Man.
He said, "You cannot legislate love. You cannot legislate for people to work together. Like you cannot do that. It's not going to work."
No.
So if you want to encourage that, then find a way to encourage it. But it don't matter even if people like each other. If you force them to come together, they're not going to like each other.
Yeah.
Or your productivity is going to drop, one or the two. Right.
That's powerful.
So allow what the message should be. I'm not saying forget the fame or forget what the final idea is, but some people are going to come along for the ride. Some people are going to want to do the kumbaya thing. Some people are going to want to socialize with everybody. Some people are going to accept that you identify as a monkey, and some people will not. And what we need to promote is to those persons. We need to promote to those persons how to maintain your individuality, how to maintain your sanity, how to maintain your motivation when you face difficult things like that, when you're facing difficulties. That's what the lesson should be. When you face these people, when you're facing these people, what you should do. When you're facing what you think is a racist cop, what should you do? When you facing what you think, because I always ask when I see these clips, I ask the question, why don't somebody make videos about what to do when you encounter a racist cop? Why doesn't somebody do that?
There
Or
is a
if
video.
you,
I've seen multiple videos.
so again, that should be the message. That should be the main message,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But even so, even with all of that, and even if you do it even if the hip hop artists also we do a We Are the World version for hip hop, even if we do that, right? People are still going to dislike each other. People are still going to be racist. People are still going to think are not going to like certain people's religions. People are still going to think whatever they think about white people. They're going to think whatever they think about black people. It's not going to change. So do what you do with your life. Be a moderately decent person,
And that's it.
and that's it. If you have
Yeah.
kids, don't raise asshole kids,
Hmm.
Yep.
and just be a productive human. That's what the message
Yep.
should be.
Yep.
That's what the
Yep.
message should be. That's it. Simple.
I agree. I want to flip the script because I think we pretty much said that it doesn't matter what Donald Trump is. Just get on your grind, do what you got to do, overcome what you got to overcome. You don't have to put up with nothing. You don't have to give Donald Trump your money. You didn't have to give him your vote, right? So let's not give too much energy to that and make that turn into an excuse to not try harder. We know we have to try harder. We know that. That's just the way it is. And we can't change that because certain people like Donald Trump grew up in a certain type of America. So the whole world is kind of conditioned the same way. All the movies, Superman is a white man. You grow up being a fan of Superman. Jesus Christ. So let's understand that is what it is. All I have to say is name. They have the black pictures of him. Anyway, that's a whole different show. I wanted to
Let's just go by
shed some light.
description. That's all.
Yeah. I want to shed some light on this guy. I can't pronounce his name too good, but this picture is an old picture, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's this gentleman from Zimbabwe, Maxwell Chinkumbutsu. If I'm
That's
not
right.
pronouncing his name correctly, thank you. But he's a dude that figured out how to capture electricity through radio waves straight out the air. Right? He did this. He announced it in America. Now, fact check everything we say. Apparently, he had this partner. He and the partner were poisoned. The partner died. He survived. The Zimbabwe king or prime minister or president, whatever they have, went and got him, called him and said, hey, come home. We will fund your research, do everything here. We could protect you. Just the other day, this is him now explaining to the president or prime minister of Zimbabwe how his new invention works, where he has self-propelling. Let me say this right. You don't need to plug in the car, and you don't need to charge the car. It gets its energy straight from the radio, from out of the air, radio waves. And
What that sound like to you, JP? What that sound like to you?
Oh no way.
That don't sound familiar. The broadcast energy transmitter.
Transmitter, the BET.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
The G.I. Joe, y'all
G.I. Joe, y'all don't know. Broadcast and transmitter.
So here's another black invention. Here's another black invention. I hope this ruckus man. Yeah, self-powered cars. He got a self-powered car, a self-powered motorcycle, working on a self-powered helicopter. This is insane. And I know of when they had persons that kind of made miraculous advancement in combustion engines or gas propelled engines, where they had cars that can go 100 miles off of like $2 worth of gas, and those people just vanished. They are no more. And now we have this big call. A lot of Africa. Maybe I should turn this into orange because I have too much to say that I'm trying to kind of compress into one or two lines. But I just wanted to shed some light on this. So y'all, big up to Maxwell. It is Black History Month.
That's right.
Yeah. So big up to this inventor. Or is it? Yeah, or is it? And he's made history. And I just like how Africa is stepping out. Like most of the nations. I just heard that Trump is about to put 100% tariffs on BRICS, which is very interesting because here we are from the top of the show that I'm saying about if you don't like how something is going, just don't rock with it. And BRICS is a bunch of companies who decided just not to rock with the US dollar. Like they just separate themselves from it. It's that easy, and then people could be mad because they know just as well as you know that they make a lot of money off of you. So my final words before I leave it to you. Anyone else want to say anything? Y'all want me to close out, or someone want to close this out?
All you, bro.
All you.
Really? Oh,
yes, really. Boy, you know what? I don't even know if that was a good idea, but yeah, go ahead.
Shush.
You got it.
Shush. Oh, Lord. Shush. Can't see you. Can't see you no more. Shush.
Hey, I forget how it goes, boy, when you start. Go
ahead. 3 days later. Simply put, man.
Let me answer the question.
He's converting radio is. Come on, closing it out now, y'all silence. Trump being into BRICS, then law and have a decision to make. Woo! Boy, that's another big one. Anyway, so I do y'all like that. Sorry about that. The reality is this. If you feel a certain way about a certain thing, then support what it is that you believe in. Support what it is that you think is right. Don't think that you could just wear whatever you want to wear. Spend your money wherever you want to spend it. And just YOLO. Or you want to live your best life. You want to have the brands and all this other type of stuff. Because all you're doing right with that is making it harder for you to see the change that you want to happen. You keep making the powerful people more powerful. And if you could do that and you could be happy with that, then don't get mad. Because their objective is to get as much of your money as possible. Mm-hmm. Not even of your money. It ain't even the dollar, you know. It ain't even a paper currency. But as much as your ability to exist in your freedom. Because the freedom you think you have, the freedom you think you buying by wearing fancy stuff or doing all these different type things, that ain't freedom. That means that you have, no matter how far you go, you have to come back and get back on your grind and make that money back in order to pay your bills.
And
that's all I got to say about that. Y'all support with supporting y'all. That's the episode. Yeah. Well, Black people with good business. Not all Black people.
Yeah,
Black people with good business.
Sorry,
not just because they Black. Make sure their product is good stuff.
And customer service.
I want to big up another topic. I want to big up Bahamian Rake and Scrape at a big night last night with KB and friends.
Ooh,
and KB, Sweet Emily, all of them. It was really nice. I wasn't there, but I saw the videos. People told me it was awesome. But it was very good to have an event like that. And I think he actually put on the whole show. I mean, when it came back, those could tell me if that's correct, but it's great to see local. It was an all local show. All locally produced, locally supported. They was jam-packed. And that's great to see.
Yeah. And on that note, I support Bahamians making Bahamas great again, just as much as I support Donald Trump making America great again. I think we all need to be in competition to be great. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Be the best version of yourself you can. On that note, peace.